Hello, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are very excited for our first Software Engineering Tech Summit. My name is Isadora. I am the Program Manager at the European Leadership University, and I'll be hosting the summit today. The summit is co organized by Offerzen and the European Leadership University. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about both. Offerzen is a developer job marketplace that helps developers find a new job and ultimately make their next career move their best one yet. And ELU is a university offering flexible undergraduate and master's degree programs in tech. We are competency based and focused on portfolio building and mentoring by experts from the field to train our students to be job ready. So you can check the website to learn more about the programs and what we have to offer. So in this summit, we will be talking about all different career pathways in software engineering and how to get started in tech. We have many experts joining us today to share their wisdom and insights. So for sure, everyone's going to learn a lot. We're excited to have 500 plus registrants and from 20 plus countries. And we would like to make this summit interactive. So please tell us where you're joining from the comments section and share your location, your country, and whatever you want to share. And also, you can also ask questions to the speakers by using the comment sections, and we'll try to help it to answer them live at the end of every session. So there are going to be 5 minute breaks in our program between each speaker, and but you can also take a break anytime you want and join us again later. So to start, let's get ahead and introduce our first guest and the first session, which is a question and answer session with two software engineering bachelor students at the European Leadership University. It's Marcel and Pedro. So, hi, Marcel. Hi, Pedro. Thank you for
Hi,
joining us today
Hi there.
and being
hi
here.
again.
Hi. So I'll start some question. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Maybe Marcel can start.
Yes. Then My name is Marcel. I'm from Brazil. I started to work in IT field in 1990. It is 24 years that I work as developer. And then this is the in 1990 is the year when I finished my technical high school, and I studied system analysis. I started developing application for the desktop. In 2001, I moved for web development. And then I worked also 4 years with iOS using Objective-C. And then I moved to Europe, and here in Europe, I started to develop in C++. And then I have a lot of experience. Also, I'm married, and I have a son, 12 years old.
Pedro.
Hey guys. I come from a completely different background than Marcel. I'm a 40-year-old guy, so I've been around for quite a while. I graduated in music, as you guys can see in my studio. That's what I do every day. But I was always interested in tinkering with computers and programming, and I've done that in my university with more of like with languages. They are more oriented to music, which you guys probably never heard of, because they're very niche. But I always been very interested, and then I don't know, that kind of like technical curiosity that I have on how computers work and how to program kind of grew in, and then I decided to do a bachelor.
Nice. So, and why did you decide to become a software engineer, Marcel?
Yes, this is an interesting question because I already work in the field for 24 years. Uh, and then even working for this for a lot, I always had some knowledge gaps related with low-level languages like assembly, C++, C language, memory management. Uh, and then to fill these gaps and acquire one certificate also that supports all my experience, then I decided to do this university. Degree is in English, is also another experience for me. And then I find the European ELU on the internet, and I loved the proposal. And this is my first international experience studying abroad, and for me, it's very interesting.
Nice. Thank you. And Pedro, you told us a little bit about why you decided, but maybe you have more.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I decided to study because I'm in a completely different field, and I don't. I mean, like I'm in a creative field. I know a lot of creatives, musicians, and artists, and I'm an artist myself. But I thought that would be a good opportunity for me to meet, people who are seeking for a technical degree. Like I surround myself with people who have an interest in software engineering. So I thought, just going to study, I would meet people like that, and I have. And also just to guide me a little bit, I've been self-teaching myself for a long time, so it would be good to have a curriculum to follow, so I'm not like aimlessly just going around and trying to learn different stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, are you currently working as a software engineer now, Pedro?
No,
Mm.
I'm not. I actually have my own company. We have like 40 people, 50 people worldwide. So I kind of lead this company. We make music for advertising. I do use a lot of the programming skills that I know to build things, build stuff for clients, and to prototype, because we do a lot of like installation work as well. When you go to a place and you make like sort of you put speakers around and there's some
Mhm.
visual experience. So I use some of that there, and I'll also build a lot of like internal tools and things like that. So, but I'm
That's
not
nice.
working exactly as a
As
software
a-
developer.
Marcel, you are working as a software engineer, right? So, what does your like day look like? Like, what is a typical work week or work day as a software engineer?
Okay. Well, as a software engineer, we need to maintain. Sometimes we need to maintain old applications. Sometimes we need to create new applications. Then this is what we do. But for that, we need to create new architectures. We need to think about how the networks need to, what kind of equipment we have. Uh, then we need to ask people what they need, the new needs. Sometimes we do things in old procedures, and now we need to evolve these procedures for new things. And for that, we need to create new software. And then this is what we do. We need to maintain sometimes, but sometimes also we need to create new things. Particularly, I prefer to create new things. We call this green projects. Then I prefer to work in green projects. Start it from the beginning, then ask people what they need, and then deliver it. This is what I like to do.
Nice.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I guess so. It's better to start the project. So you were both studying software engineering, and what made you decide to study at ELU software engineering?
Who's first?
Yeah, whoever wants to go first.
Marcel?
Okay. Well, when I started to search for one university, I have found some, one, two, or three, and then I started to read about, and then I see that some universities they were following the old way of studying. And what I think I see different in the ELU, here we have a new approach of studying. Then the portfolio approach is interesting. Then flexibility, online studying, and of course I was also looking for studying English and get a certificate in Europe. Then this also is good for me. But I think this is the main things that I was looking for.
Yeah, to me was definitely flexibility because I already have a career and I have a team to manage. It'll be practically impossible for me to go to like a traditional university and sit there with a bunch of 20-year-olds who have time, to to go and watch classes. And I think maybe this is for Marcel too, because we have some experience in life. Where I think I feel a bit confident that I could kind of self guide me, through the process, because learning anything technical, it's never easy. It's very frustrating and it takes time and there's a lot of information. But if you can guide yourself and you can be consistent with your studies, it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I think you need to have discipline for sure. So tell us like what has been your experience so far in the program, like some things that you have learned that you didn't know before.
I think
Um,
that.
oh, sorry,
Oh,
go for it.
okay. Um, I think the experience is very, very interesting. Interesting. For me, it's amazing. I was not expecting the experience that I have. To be honest, we can learn really good concepts. We can really work as portfolio building, and we can hands-on on it on the project, starting it, reading the requirements, and then of course with support of teachers we can then and also self-learning we can then start to develop our projects at the same time that we learn things. And we have a good tool that support us to do that. Then we have a tool that gives us the requirements, gives us the collaborative software code collaborative tool like Git, and people that code review our code, and sometimes they tell us you should improve here. Then we go there and we improve until we have achieved the requirements. Then it's really interesting. But as Pedro told us, we really need to do this patience, to be resilient with things and self-learning.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, like to me, the thing that I liked the most was that the program takes you into low level programming with C and then C++, because I mean, like I like this foundation. I think that maybe some programs out there, especially like in boot camps, they're gonna be very focused maybe in getting you a job, and then they're gonna teach you web development, and then just gonna learn some framework. So you're like on the top of the stack. I mean, you're so far from how a computer actually works that like whenever there is a problem, it's going to be hard for you to debug the problem, because you don't even know what's the underlying. So I really enjoy that one. I like low level programming, but I think it's really important as a foundation, and I think it's a good choice. So
Yes, I agree. I agree
yeah.
with Pedro. And it was also what I was looking for to really fill some gaps, and this I'm learning here. Low-level concepts, algorithms, C language, assembly, memory management, and in a good way. Really interesting.
Good, good. And so you're both working, like you said, and how are you able to combine the studies with your work? Do you think it's hard or like the
It's not
amount of
easy.
work you have and study?
It's totally flexible. Then this is amazing. We can study in the time that you want, how many hours you want. This is what really matters for me. Who I work, I have family. I also have a startup. Then uh, I started to create my culture to study online. Before, when I started to do courses in Udemy or Coursera or Plural site, then today I see to study online is really a powerful tool. Even for the IT field is perfect. When I see how this powerful tool works, then we really can get the best from them. Then, of course, we need to have some qualities to do to study online, and but or we need to learn these qualities like patience, resilience, and learn how to study alone sometimes. But yes, I love to study online today.
it's not easy, right? I mean, like, especially if you're working and learning at the same time. I mean, with me specifically, that I have like a different day at work than I would do at studying. Maybe it's a good thing, right? Because then I can have like do different things, but also, it kind of takes your focus all over the place because you're doing two different activities. But I think that, I mean, to me, that would be the only way that I could actually pursue something like that, to have a very flexible way to work and study. Otherwise, I mean, it just wouldn't be possible. I mean, it's not easy, right? But it's possible, and that's all we
Yeah.
need, I guess.
I think it's not easy to study and work at the same time independently, but I think online makes it better. And of course, you're more flexible. So, how do you think your studies are going to help you in your future, like with your career, the careers that you have now, or if you want to change careers also?
Yes, for me, it's my new knowledge is already started to help me because since I came to Europe, I started to work with C++, with more low-level languages and doing different things that when you are working in higher level language, sometimes you don't need some low-level knowledge. Then uh, since I came to Europe, I started to work in these new things, and I started already to use my new knowledge. At the same time, I'm studying them. Then, for me, it's really perfect. Of course, software engineering experience is not just about develop things. It's a little more complex. It's like to lead or like to create the entire architecture or entire experiences or put everything to work together, other people to work. And there is a lot of things here that we are learning. But yes, it's fantastic. It's amazing.
Cool. Yeah, to me, it's a different perspective than Marcel, just because I do always done something different. I have a creative mind. I make music for a living, and I have ideas and things like that. So I always had the mindset, and I think that studying software engineering completely changed how I approach everything. It's so funny because, I mean, there's always that joke between the architect and the engineer, right? The architect wants the world and has these creative, crazy ideas, and the engineer is really focused in the requirements. And I think in the beginning, to me, was very difficult and humbling too, because I, you know, I, I, I didn't understand how to approach requirements and talk with other engineers and understand what is important. But like slowly, little by little, like this experience has been teaching me to become to see the other side of the coin, the side of the performance, the building things, as opposed to like the dreamy and aspirational side of the creative. So it's been like really, really a learning experience to me.
And that's good. I'm glad you guys are also having like very different experiences. It's nice to like learn a little bit about that. So, for like my last question is, what advice would you give to other aspiring engineers that are maybe in your path or a different path?
Yes. But, well, um, in the IT field, you have a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities. Then, and it's really a interesting profession. Then if you like to stay on computers, to work with computers, then I really advise you to get this career because it's very interesting. For that, of course, you need to be resilient, to have patience, because if you don't have these two qualities, maybe you, like Pedro told, you are going to be frustrated. Then have patience, learning. Sometimes in the beginning is not so easy, but as soon as each day that you acquire a new knowledge, things start to become more easier for you. Then when you have a bunch of knowledge, then you really will it start to it will going to start to be really easier for you. Then don't give up in the first. Then this is my advice.
I guess my advice is if you want to understand how something works, just build one of it because that's the only way you'll ever understand anything. You can read books, you can watch videos, but if you really want to understand how something works, just like build from the ground up and you're going to understand every single part of it. And that's basically the best way to learn. And that would be like sort of my advice, so you're not kind of wasting too much of your time just watching videos and trying to learn some other way.
Yeah, like learn by doing, I guess.
Yeah,
Okay, that was the last question. I'm going to open up questions also from the guests. One person has a question is what are the important programming languages that should be known? From Gurnish from India.
I have some favorite ones, but I'll let
Okay.
Marcel start.
Okay, for for learning purpose or for go directly for the markets and find good jobs, then I don't know. But okay, we can learn with even really we can learn with all the languages. No problem. No, does not matter. But today, that is, if you go in the Google, you can rank the best languages, and maybe depends on you if you want to go for the language that pay more or other kind of languages. There is also technical challenges that you want. It is depends. But for example, today we have in the top rank we have Java, we have Golang, we have these languages, we have C++ also in the top, C Sharp. If you want to develop for games, you can decide develop for C++ or for C Sharp, or they are good. Also, Python is a good language. It's easier language to learn. It really depends from you. Uh, uh, it's difficult to say that. Today, I think my next language I should learn is Golang. I think for me, from my knowledge. But yes,
To me, I think you gotta C is one language that you have to learn just because you need to understand how the computer works. But I would kind of pick languages that do different things. So you can have like an interpreted language, Ruby or Python or Node, whatever. Just pick one of those. Doesn't really matter. Just pick one compile language. It can be Rust or systems language, Rust or C++ or even Golang, which is kind of like systems too. And I would take one functional language just to change your mindset. It could be like Elixir or Camel. What else? Clojure. Just don't pick Haskell because it's kind of complicated.
um, Treasure from Cape Town asked a question to Pedro. He said, "What is the good tools for to use for automation tests, especially on .NET environments?"
Never use any Microsoft things. So I know not a lot about C sharp or the .NET kind of world. Do you know anything about them, Marcel? I'm an Apple guy, so
.NET also for me is not
Not
a
okay.
good.
sorry
I
about
miss.
that.
And then for the last question is what is the difference between software engineering and software development?
Marcel?
Okay, I think they are not so much different, but software development really you need to develop to work in the process of development and code things. A software, I should say, a software engineer, you can participate in all the development process and also in the deployment process. Then you start from the beginning when you are talking with people, understanding the requirements, understand what we need to do, then document these kind of things, and after you put that for development, and then a software engineer should be also able to understand how to put this in deployment and how to create a, we call it CI/CD today, a continuous integration, continuous deployment, how to put this all entire process to work. Then because we need to continuous deployment things is something that you need to understand how to do, because today we don't work in 1 year for then deployment an entire version of Windows, for example. We deploy things by in little pieces of code. And we do something that goes and automatically the test is automatically done, then the security is automatically uh, done, the code is verified, and how to put all these things to work. I think then the software engineer should follow all the entire process. This is my vision. The software developer just work in the development, and then the software engineer can see something, and the abstraction is a little bit bigger.
Should I answer the next question so we're a bit faster, like about the
Uh,
back end and the full stack?
yes, yes, you can. Okay, that'll be the last question then. What is the
Okay, sorry.
difference, I think, between front end and back end and full stack?
Okay. So this is kind of more related to web development, or it could be potentially just system development too, but it's more used in the web development world. So the front end, it's whatever it's in your browser on your like Safari or Chrome. And generally that's kind of like the UI, the front end interface of your application. It's like you generally program that in JavaScript or some JavaScript framework, and the backend is like sitting on a computer in the cloud in a like in any place in the world, and that's kind of what's gonna handle your business logic, and it's gonna talk with your database, and that generally you can be more flexible with what language you want to use. So you could, I don't know, use Python, like somebody mentioned Python. You can use Django Python, or you can use Ruby on Rails. So that's kind of the difference. One is just building your UI and the front end of the application. The other one is just handling the data and the business logic. And full stack is both of them, obviously, together.
Okay, then I think that's the end of our talk and our session. Thank you so much for your answers, and it was a pleasure hearing from you and coming to participate. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.